Chapter 701 Clansman? Chapter 701, Clansman? In the outer layer of the Eternal Zone, two figures were gliding in the endless forest. Jian Wushuang was following the copper-armored demon god, Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, you're pretty good. You can keep up with me, Wushuang said as he turned to give the boy a friendly glance. Yeah, fortunately. Jian Wushuang nodded. Suddenly, boom. A violent sound arose, accompanied by two streams of mighty power. Someone is fighting. Jian Wushuang immediately understood. Shit, there must be outsiders, Wushuang mumbled and then accelerated. Soon after they arrived at a battlefield. A patch of dense forest had disappeared as all the big trees were shattering into pieces. Two figures were fighting in the center of a huge open space. A stone-faced man with a mighty aura was waving his long spear. He was proficient in the raging fire Dao, so every strike was scorching and violent. It's him? Jian Wushuang immediately recognized the stone-faced man. Although he did not know his name, Jian Wushuang had met this superior divine realm expert when many disciples gathered in the Eternal Zone. The stone-faced man was 4 meters tall with silver skin that sparkled in the sunshine. A silver-armored demon god, Jian Wushuang thought while narrowing his eyes. Silver-armored demon gods were much stronger than copper-armored demon gods. He's our captain. The moment he saw this silver-armored demon god, Wushuang burst into hearty laughter and said in a confident tone, "It's not the outsider's day. He's encountered our captain." Jian Wushuang sensed that this silver-armored demon god was terrifying. This silver-armored demon god held a silver mace in each of his giant hands. At this point he was successively swinging his weapons, which contained the strength of billions of pounds, while his opponent had exerted his full strength but was still losing ground. Every time the silver-armored demon god hit the stone-faced man's long spear, the latter would shiver. Obviously he was unable to counter such violent power. After a while, the stone-faced man's hands started bleeding. How powerful! Jian Wushuang was stunned. He sensed that the stone-faced man was as strong as a superior divine realm expert and more powerful than Hu, but he was far inferior to the silver-armored demon god in strength, speed, and skill. This silver-armored demon god is proficient in close fighting, Jian Wushuang said to himself. Upon realizing that there was no chance to strike back, the stone-faced man turned to flee without hesitation. Although the silver-armored demon god chased after him, the stone-faced man was a core disciple of the Boundless Demon Sect and had an excellent life-saving skill, so he easily escaped. It's a pity that this outsider escaped. Wushuang sighed and walked toward the silver-armored demon god. Captain. Wushuang greeted him in a resonant voice. The silver-armored demon god, who had landed on the ground, turned his head in surprise. When he saw Wushuang, he broke into a smile, saying, "And what are your battle results?" "Bad luck. I only encountered an outsider over the last 2 days. He was as strong as me, so he left when he realized that he was unable to kill me," Wushuang replied. "Those outsiders have incredible skills, so it's hard to kill them." The silver-armored demon god nodded slightly. He was capable of defeating the stone-faced man, but he could do nothing if his opponent escaped. "You're lucky. At least you're alive. Gu Feng and Gu Ying are dead," the silver-armored demon god said. "What?" Wushuang was astonished. Then he clenched his hands, with fury burning in his eyes. "Damn it. The outsiders are our enemies. They desire our essence blood to improve their strength while we train ourselves by fighting with them. We all take what we need." The silver-armored demon god sighed. Upon hearing this, Wushuang shook his head. "Right, Captain, I met a Clansman on my way. He is a little boy who hasn't been baptized," Wushuang suddenly said. "Oh." The silver-armored demon god was surprised. Wushuang turned to shout toward the forest. "Boy, come out." Jian Wushuang wore a solemn expression and hesitated, debating whether to go out or not. Although Wushuang regarded him as his clansman, this captain would probably recognize that he was an outsider. And once he was recognized by the silver-armored demon god, Jian Wushuang knew that he was unable to fight him. "I can't match him in a head-on fight, so if I run, he won't have an opportunity to kill me." Jian Wushuang was deep in thought and finally decided to meet this silver-armored demon god. He wanted to figure out why Wushuang treated him as his clansman. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang flew out of the dense forest and appeared in front of the two demon gods. He deliberately stood 10 meters away from them and remained on guard. Even if this silver-armored demon god suddenly attacked him, he would be able to react in time. Jian Wushuang, why are you so slow? We're family. What are you afraid of? Wuxiang looked at the boy with a smile. The silver-armored demon god also scrutinized the boy, who was a bit perturbed. Jian Wushuang. The silver-armored demon god looked him up and down and then said with a frown, "This name is similar to that of the outsiders. It's strange that he's here, but his soul aura is indeed consistent with our clansman." Chapter 702 Soul Aura. Chapter 702 Soul Aura. The silver-armored demon god's face fell as he asked severely, "Boy, didn't your seniors tell you not to come to this area?" Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang felt relieved. Obviously, this silver-armored demon god regarded him as his clansman. "Captain, this boy has lost touch with his family," Wuxiang explained. "Really?" The silver-armored demon god raised his eyebrows. Wuxiang looked over at Jian Wushuang and introduced his captain. "Jian Wushuang, this is my captain, Yan." "Captain Yan." Jian Wushuang addressed him with modesty while thinking, Yan, Wuxiang and the dead Gu Feng and Gu Ying, all of them with the surname Gu. Are all the clansmen from the demon god clan named Gu? No wonder they said that my name is a bit odd. "Captain, I've just bumped into this boy and planned on sending him back to his tribe, but I didn't expect to meet you here," Wuxiang said honestly. "Send him back to his tribe?" Gu Yan spared Jian Wushuang a glance and then nodded slightly. "He hasn't been baptized and should not have been here. This territory is filled with outsiders, so it's dangerous for you to travel here alone, let alone with this little guy. What should I do? Will you escort us back personally?" Wuxiang frowned. "I'm the captain, so I can't leave the battlefield." Gu Yan shook his head. "Well, I know a good place to hide. Ordinarily, the outsiders won't be able to find it. You can go there with this boy and hide for a few days. Those outsiders stay for 10 days every time they enter the zone. There are 8 days left. You can wait until then." Wuxiang immediately nodded. "Okay. Follow me," Gu Yan ordered and set off. "Jian Wushuang, let's follow the captain," Wuxiang added. Jian Wushuang shrugged but obeyed. Shortly after, Gu Yan led them into a patch of dense forest. There was a hole in the ground which was covered by weeds. "Wuxiang, take this boy and stay in the cave for 8 days. Remember, don't radiate your aura," Gu Yan cautioned him. "Okay," replied Wuxiang with a nod. Gu Yan looked around to ensure that there were no dangers and then left before Jian Wushuang and Wuxiang entered the cave. There was a spacious open area inside the cave. It was dark without any decorations. But Jian Wushuang and Wuxiang were still able to see clearly in the dark. "Come boy, let's have a drink." Wuxiang turned his hand over and took out a bag of wine. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate, and as he drank, a pungent feeling ran through his body. "What a spicy wine." Jian Wushuang growled and felt as if he were going to spout out fire. He had never drunk such spicy wine before. "Haha, good wine, right? My wife brews it for me. It's a pity that she only gives me 1 bag every month. You have to save some for me," Wuxiang said with a smile. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly and drank again before he returned the wine bag to this demon god. After wiping his mouth, Jian Wushuang said, "Big brother Wuxiang, I need to ask you about something." "About what?" Wuxiang replied indifferently. "You said you fought with outsiders. What's the difference between us?" Jian Wushuang asked casually. Jian Wushuang was really eager to learn about it. He wanted to figure out why Wuxiang and Gu Yan regarded him as their clansman. "That's easy," Wuxiang answered with a grin. "Outsiders are seemingly the same as you are, thin and small and haven't been baptized. Actually, these are just the superficial similarities. Their souls are different from ours." "Souls?" Jian Wushuang was shocked. "Everyone has their own soul aura. The outsiders' soul auras are totally different from ours. As long as they appear, I can recognize them," Wuxiang explained. "Oh." Jian Wushuang nodded inwardly, but he was actually quite astonished. Wuxiang and the other clansmen from the demon god clan were able to distinguish outsiders from their clansmen according to their soul auras. However, Wuxiang and Gu Yan regarded Jian Wushuang as their clansmen. That is to say, they sensed that Jian Wushuang had the same aura as them. "My soul aura is the same as the demon gods? How is this possible?" Jian Wushuang felt it was unbelievable. He had been trying to figure out the reason ever since Wuxiang became under the impression that he came from the demon god clan. Jian Wushuang had suspected that it was because of the immortality secret skill. The immortality secret skill he had received in the ancient world came from an expert called God Hong. God Hong, who came from the eternal world, had to belong to a special clan because his broken finger was larger than Jian Wushuang. The demon gods all had big and powerful bodies, so God Hong possibly came from the demon god clan. Then it was natural for them to regard Jian Wushuang as their clansman because he had cultivated the immortality secret skill that God Hong created. Nevertheless, he discovered that he was wrong, as the immortality secret skill had only improved his body, but it was unable to change his soul aura. Souls were mysterious, so he was definitely unable to change it by himself. Jian Wushuang was sure that he had no bond with the demon god clan, but now his soul aura was the same as the demon gods. There was only one possibility. The Universal Dao Scripture. Jian Wushuang's eyes shone with excitement. When Jian Wushuang received the Universal Dao Scripture, his master Xian Yi told him that it was a special secret skill and that he would know its function in the near future. Therefore, it was likely that the Universal Dao Scripture had changed his soul aura. Chapter 703 Help. Chapter 703 Help. The Universal Dao Scripture. Jian Wushuang muttered, but he instantly shook his head. Come on, don't think about it. I can ask my master after I return to the ancient sect. Now that they are treating me as their clansman and I haven't intended to kill them, it should be fine. 5 days passed by. Every time the Eternal Zone opened, the outsiders were able to stay for 10 days. Jian Wushuang had spent 2 days meditating on the fifth occult of the world Dao and had stayed in this underground cave with Wuxiang for 5 days, so the outsiders had 3 days left. Jian Wushuang spent most of the time cultivating. He occasionally drank and chatted with Wuxiang. Now he had a basic understanding of the Demon God clan. The Demon God clan had been living in the Eternal Zone for countless years. They called themselves the descendants of the ancient god. It was said that their ancestor was powerful enough to shatter the world. However, their ancestor disappeared many years ago and no one knew his whereabouts. All the ancient god's descendants admired him. Their blind worship of their ancestor had not weakened with age. The demon gods in this eternal zone amounted to more than 1 million. They all gathered in the inner layer and were divided into 10 tribes. Wuxiang and Yan came from the 7th tribe. They all treated their clansmen like family, and were friendly to the other clans as well as the human population. Each time the Eternal Zone opened, experts from the firmament territory rushed in and tried to kill their clansmen, which provoked the demon gods. Therefore, the demon god clan would dispatch their elite clansmen to deal with the outsiders. Over the years, the experts killed many demon gods and vice versa. The experts from the firmament territory are invaders indeed, Jian Wushuang thought. Little brother Wushuang, the outsiders should leave in 3 days. Then we can go out, Wuxiang said. Okay. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. He had just made up his mind to leave when the time was up. Just then. Howl? A roar came from the depths of the dense forest. It seemed to be from a long distance away, but it was resonant, so Jian Wushuang and Wuxiang were able to hear it clearly. Is it? Wuxiang immediately stood up. My clansman nearby is asking for help. Oh. Jian Wushuang was a bit surprised. Wuxiang said in a low voice, it must be because of the outsiders. Howl? Another roar was heard. Jian Wushuang could tell that it sounded urgent. Damn it, so urgent, this clansman won't be able to withstand it. Wuxiang seemed worried as he said to the boy in an anxious voice, Little brother Wushuang, you stay here, I'll go and check it out. Jian Wushuang had already risen up and he replied, Let's go together. Okay, come on. They instantly flew out of the cave. The moment they appeared in the dense forest, they sensed violent roars from a nearby area. Hurry up, Wuxiang said urgently. The two of them immediately accelerated and arrived at a battlefield. A copper-armored demon god was fighting with a human warrior fiercely. The human warrior in a scarlet robe gripped a scarlet scythe and charged forward like a ghost, leaving blood shadows in the sky. Jian Wushuang considered the man and thought, it's him, Shui Guzi, one of the 3 superior divine realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard. Jian Wushuang came for the 3 superior divine realm experts, so he had paid more attention to them. Shui Guzi was considered the weakest among the 3 superior divine realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard. However, as the core disciple of Cloud Sea Asgard, Shui Guzi was far more powerful than Hu had been killed by Jian Wushuang. Shui Guzi casually swung the scarlet scythe, unleashing blood shadows to suppress his opponent. The copper-armored demon god desperately resisted but had no chance to fight back. The copper-armored demon god was comparable to an advanced divine realm expert, so he was far inferior to Shuai. Fortunately, he had a powerful body so he was able to sustain the attacks for a while. Without any aid, the copper-armored demon god would die without a doubt. Bastard! Wushuang growled and, without hesitation, dived toward the battlefield. Jian Wushuang only watched the fighting from afar. He did not intend to step in. When the copper-armored demon god, who had fallen into despair, saw Wushuang, he was surprised and delighted. "Gu Jing, let's kill this outsider." Obviously, Wushuang knew the copper-armored demon god. Gu Jing nodded solemnly. "No problem." Then they charged toward their opponent. Haha. Shuai seemed glad that Wushuang had joined their fight. His evil eyes glittered with a flicker of excitement. "Buy one get one free. I'm lucky." Shuai laughed out loud and dashed toward them with his scarlet scythe. Chapter 704 Jian Wushuang joins in. Chapter 704, Jian Wushuang joins in. Humph! Wushuang snorted. A giant, 3-meter-long axe appeared in his hand. The body of the axe was extremely wide like a small hill. A might power surged out from his huge arm as he lashed out with the axe. Boom! It collided with the scarlet scythe, causing a violent clash. The strength of both of them erupted. Wushuang was knocked back while Shuai only took a step back. Oh! Shuai stared at Wushuang with a flicker of surprise in his eyes, saying, "Nice, both of you are copper-armored demon gods, but you're stronger than your friend. Anyway, the result won't change." He grinned before he dived forward. Shwa, shwa, shwa. All that appeared in the sky was a few scarlet shadows. No one knew where Shuai was. Wushuang was astonished and said to himself, "So fast." "Wushuang, be careful, he is really fast." Gu Jing warned his friend. Just then Shuai appeared at his opponent's side. A cold blood light flashed toward the latter's head. Wushuang immediately wielded his giant axe to resist it, but the blood light suddenly changed its trajectory when it was about to crash into the axe. The odd swerve was out of the demon god's expectation. Chi! The blood light flashed through Wushuang's chest, cutting off a piece of flesh. "Bastard!" Wushuang snarled. He furiously hacked at his opponent's head with his axe while Gu Jing gripped a sturdy stone staff and charged forward. Shuai shook his head and said, "You're too slow." Swish, swish. The giant axe and stone staff both went through Shuai but touched nothing. A cold blood light suddenly appeared behind Wushuang. Shwa! A huge knife mark appeared on Wushuang's back, where blood spurted out. If Wushuang did not have such a powerful body, he would have been split in half. Seeing what was happening, Jian Wushuang shook his head. He mumbled to himself, "The demon god clan is famous for their bodies and for having terrifying offensive and defensive powers, but their speed is their disadvantage." Wushuang was almost as strong as an ordinary superior divine realm expert in offensive power if he exerted his full strength, but his speed was only comparable to an advanced divine realm expert. However, Shuai he was proficient in speed, so he moved and attacked faster than the two demon gods. Shuai took the advantage of his speed to play with his opponents. Gu Yen, who is good at close combat, might be able to defeat Shuai with ease, but it's impossible for these two copper-armored demon gods to fight him. They'll be killed without a doubt. It seems that I should show my move. Jian Wushuang licked his lips. If it were a disciple from another sect who was fighting Wushuang, Jian Wushuang might have hesitated to join the battle, but things became different when it was a disciple from Cloud Sea Asgard. It was clear to Jian Wushuang that 3 superior divine realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard had come for him, so he would not wait until they attacked him to fight. It was good to take the initiative in a fight. The Emperor's sword appeared in his hand. The next moment he glided forward. Shuai was brandishing the scarlet scythe while playing with his opponents, who had received more cuts on their bodies. The demon gods' bodies are powerful. They're still alive under my attack, and their strength hasn't weakened. Shuai frowned. His offensive power was not strong enough to kill his opponents with a single strike, but he was able to injure them by using his speed. Shuai thought, anyway, it will just take me more time. And then, swoosh, a figure unexpectedly appeared beside him. Ha! Shuai instantly perceived it. After parrying the attacks from the two demon gods, he turned his head to look and found a black-robed youth staring at him coldly. Is that Jian Wushuang? Shui Guzi was astonished. His main purpose in coming here was to kill Jian Wushuang. However, he and the other disciples from Cloud Sea Asgard had not encountered the boy over the past 7 days. With there being only 3 days left, he had been upset about it. But now Jian Wushuang unexpectedly appeared in front of him. Does the boy want to grab my prey? Shui Guzi frowned and saw a killing intent flash through Jian Wushuang's eyes. No, his target is not the demon gods but me. He already knows that Cloud Sea Asgard wants to kill him. Shui Guzi understood and then sneered while thinking, even knowing that instead of hiding he's come to kill me? Ah, he is courting death. Boy, since you want to die, I'll grant your wish. So much mighty killing intent gushed out from his eyes that it almost materialized. Shui Guzi charged toward Jian Wushuang. Boy, go to hell. Shui Guzi snarled. His scarlet scythe, which was covered by a bloody mist, flashed through the sky. Shui Guzi used his full strength to display his strongest move. He hacked at Jian Wushuang's head. Chapter 705 Hidden Strength. Chapter 705 Hidden Strength. Shui Guzi was unable to kill the demon gods with his strongest move. Instead, he could only slowly torture them to death. On the other hand, he was confident of killing Jian Wushuang with a single move, as his body was weaker than the demon gods. Seeing the oncoming strike, Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with battle intent. His face was grim. Idiot, you're so eager to kill me that you've forgotten what you're good at. You want to kill me with your offensive power? We'll see who wins. As his killing intent soared, Jian Wushuang tightened his grip on his emperor's sword. In his sea of consciousness, the sharp sword heart suddenly shook, activating 100% of its sword heart power. His spiritual power and physical strength instantly peaked. He swung the emperor's sword, giving full play to the strength of this eternal weapon. Violet Calamity Sword Skill. His eyes flashed. Jian Wushuang performed the strongest move, Violet Calamity Sword Skill. A brilliant purple light appeared. It looked like a purple sun. It was so dazzling that Gu Qiong and Gu Jing could not help but close their eyes. Shui Guzi was shocked. He had a grim sense of foreboding. However, it was too late. The brilliant purple sword light had pierced into his scarlet shadow. Clang. The collision caused sparks and formless waves to spread in all directions. How is that possible? Shui Guzi looked at the scarlet scythe in disbelief. He sensed a terrifying power being transmitted from his weapon. Although his defensive skills were weak, his body was still stronger than that of an advanced divine realm expert. However, being confronted with the terrifying power, his right palm suddenly shook and burst apart. His whole arm disintegrated into a fog of blood in the blink of an eye. The initial confrontation had already disabled him. What did this mean? Impossible. Shui Guzi glared at Jian Wushuang as if he had forgotten his pain. 7 days ago he had witnessed Jian Wushuang fighting against Gong Chao. He had thought that Jian Wushuang was an advanced divine realm expert. He had told Wu Dao and Dao Mei that Jian Wushuang would not stand a chance against them. However, the head-on confrontation with Jian Wushuang had shattered his right arm and hand. He definitely has the battle strength of a superior divine realm expert, and his offensive power is greater than an ordinary one. Shui Guzi's face paled. He had lost his right hand as well as his scarlet scythe, so his battle strength plummeted. Run. Shui Guzi wanted to escape. Jian Wushuang had preempted this. He immediately displayed his exquisite swordsmanship. Streaks of sword shadows that formed a huge net fell toward Shui Guzi. World prison. Jian Wushuang growled. Mighty world energy gushed out and formed a colossal world prison around his opponent. Jian Wushuang had comprehended the fifth occult of the world Dao, so the world prison was more powerful than before. World prison and sword net suppressed Shui Guzi and slowed him down. Shui Guzi was running around in wild panic within the world prison. He might have been able to escape from the world prison alone, but faced with the sword net. Jian Wushuang chased Shui Guzi so relentlessly that the latter struggled to keep resisting. Piss off. Piss off. A sickle appeared in Shui Guzi's left hand. He wanted to fight back with it. However, he had no chance to do so. What? He is so powerful. I know his swordsmanship is exquisite, but how could it be so terrifying? It was terrifying indeed. He had thought that with his skills at the saber technique, he would be able to withstand Jian Wushuang's attacks for a while despite having to use his left hand. The facts were, however, way beyond what he expected. Jian Wushuang, you hid your strength? Shui Guzi snarled as he stared at his opponent. Right, you finally realized it, but it's too late. Jian Wushuang responded with a sneer. He brandished the emperor's sword and knocked the sickle away. At this point, Gu Qiong and Gu Jing dashed over to Shui Guzi and cut off his escape route. No, no! Shui Guzi roared in despair. Knowing that he was at death's door, his desperation turned to madness. Jian Wushuang, even if I die, I won't make it easy for you. The eternal zone will be your grave. Haha. Shui Guzi laughed out. He stared at Jian Wushuang with red eyes as he waved with his only hand. Bang. Shui Guzi suddenly burst into a fog of blood. Chapter 706 Blood Mark? Chapter 706 Blood Mark? He made himself explode. Jian Wushuang looked at the haze of blood in astonishment. Little brother Wushuang. Gu Qiong and Gu Jing walked toward him. Little brother Wushuang, you're amazing. The outsider was very powerful. Even Gu Jing and I didn't stand a chance against him, but you managed to kill him. Gu Qiong looked surprised. I was lucky. He underestimated me, otherwise I couldn't have killed him, Jian Wushuang replied with a smile. It was the truth. He had hidden most of his strength when he fought with Gong Chao, so Shui Guzi had underestimated him and was eager to kill him. Although Shui Guzi was considered the weakest among the three superior divine realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard, he was the core disciple and had various trump cards. Typically, it would not have been easy to kill him. If Shui Guzi had taken advantage of his speed to launch an attack, Jian Wushuang would have been unable to find a chance to kill him. Regrets were useless. A wrong judgment had led his death. Gu Qiong, this little brother is... Gu Jing looked at Jian Wushuang curiously. I've bumped into him on the road. He is Jian Wushuang from the 8th tribe, Gu Qiong answered. The 8th tribe? Little brother Wushuang, you haven't yet made a breakthrough to the divine realm, right? And you also haven't received baptism. It's incredible that you were able to kill an outsider. Gu Jing was full of praise. Haha, I thought that you had been separated from your family. Now, I know that you've come to train yourself by fighting those outsiders, right? Gu Qiong said with a grin. Jian Wushuang nodded with a smile and felt relieved. Right, you've seen through me. It seemed that Gu Qiong had not suspected his identity, although he had displayed battle strength which was inconsistent with his own realm. For the demon gods, they only believed in soul aura, which was enough to prove Jian Wushuang's identity. There were many supreme geniuses in the demon god clan, so it was common to see some rank-skipping challenges. At this juncture, Jian Wushuang sensed something amiss. He looked at his right arm and saw a cloud of blood fog creeping towards it. It eventually condensed into blood mark. What? Jian Wushuang was shocked. This is... Seeing this mark, Jian Wushuang eventually understood why Shui Guzi had made himself explode. Shui Guzi wanted to leave a blood mark on his opponent so that the other disciples from Cloud Sea Asgard would be able to find him. Jian Wushuang had seen it before in the ancient world. The mark, like a lighthouse in the dark night, would guide his enemies to find him. Previously, in the ancient world, someone from the Holy Emperor Palace had left a similar mark on him. Since he had been unable to escape at the time, he had to fight to the death with the second Holy Master. Now he was in the same situation. Shui Guzi has practiced such a skill on purpose. It seems that he was prepared for it. Jian Wushuang's expression was frosty. He realized that aside from Shui Guzi, the other 9 disciples from the Cloud Sea Asgard might have mastered the mark skill. Little brother Wushuang, what is this blood mark? Gu Qiong asked when he noticed it on Jian Wushuang's arm. The outsider left this mark on me so that the other outsiders would be able to find me, Jian Wushuang responded solemnly. What? Gu Qiong was astonished. That means you'll be targeted by the outsiders. Right, but it's just a few people. Jian Wushuang replied as he fixed his eyes on the blood mark. I wonder if my heavenly creation skill can remove this mark, Jian Wushuang thought. He activated the heavenly creation skill. The heavenly creation skill was incredibly powerful. It had been able to refine Lung Wushuang's icy heart poison, so it should be able to remove this mark. However, the mark was deep. Jian Wushuang estimated that it would take him 3 days to remove it. The disciples from Cloud Sea Asgard would find him within that period of time. I'm in trouble, Jian Wushuang thought as his eyes narrowed. Gu Qiong looked over at Jian Wushuang and said, Little brother Wushuang, don't worry. This is our place, so we don't need to be afraid of those outsiders. Although most of our clansmen stay in the tribe, there have been a few fights with outsiders in this zone. If the outsiders find you, we'll help you to kill them. Right, our demon gods are stronger than the outsiders. And our 7th tribe has sent 15 squads here, which means we have 150 clansmen helping us, in addition to the clansmen from the 8th tribe. You don't have to worry about the outsiders. Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Right, I'm unable to fight against Wu Dao, Dao Mei and the other disciple from Cloud Sea Asgard, but I'm now a clansman of Demon God Clan. In the Eternal Zone, demon gods are the real masters. They're the strongest. Haha. Jian Wushuang could not help but laugh aloud. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Cloud Sea Asgard, since you want to kill me, I won't make it easy on you. This time if I can't set you up, I'm not Jian Wushuang. Chapter 707, Wu Dao. Chapter 707, Wu Dao. Big brother Guqiong, do you have any method to contact the clansmen in the forest? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course. Guqiong nodded. Our 7th tribe has 15 squads here and each squad has its own contact spot. If there's an emergency, we can leave messages in those spots. The message token did not work in the Eternal Zone, so demon gods could only use the contact spots to send messages. That's fine then Jian Wushuang started to explain his plan to Guqiong and Gu Jing. After a while the 3 of them came to an agreement. In that case Gu Jing and I will go to the contact spot. Little brother Wushuang, you'll have to deal with the outsider by yourself. Be careful, Guqiong said. Don't worry. Jian Wushuang replied with a smile. Guqiong and Gu Jing headed for their own squad's contact spot, leaving Jian Wushuang standing alone on the cratered ground. Jian Wushuang sat down with his legs crossed. Cloud Sea Asgard? I'm waiting for you. Come on. Jian Wushuang closed his eyes as he began to meditate on his slaughter Dao. He had comprehended the 5th occult of the world Dao, but his slaughter Dao was relatively weak. When he had fought Shui Guzi, Jian Wushuang sensed that he was about to make a breakthrough in the slaughter Dao. He might be able to comprehend the 5th occult of the world Dao before the experts from Cloud Sea Asgard found him. By that time his strength would have improved greatly. Jian Wushuang waited quietly for his enemies. Meanwhile, in the deep forest in the outer layer of the Eternal Zone, whoosh! A young man with a saber on his back glided and came to a sudden halt. He had an arrogant look and an icy gaze. He was Wu Dao, one of the 3 superior divine realm experts as well as the strongest one. Shui Guzi was also a superior divine realm expert, but he was far inferior to Wu Dao. Wu Dao stood on the treetop as he looked at this right palm where a blood mark had formed. This mark felt hot and was able to lead him to his destination. This blood mark is finally activated. I wonder which junior brother encountered Jian Wushuang. Wu Dao sneered. Aided by the blood mark, he would be able to find Jian Wushuang's whereabouts with ease. Wu Dao turned and headed for his destination. Not long after Wu Dao left, a black-robed figure appeared where Wu Dao had stood moments ago. A strange smile appeared on his face as he stared at Wu Dao's retreating figure. It looks like he's learnt where Jian Wushuang is. Good, I hope he won't disappoint me. The black-robed figure transformed into a black fog and moved forward. He had been tailing Wu Dao for several days, but the superior divine realm expert had not discovered it. Wu Dao glided through the dense forest and eventually reached his destination after half a day. I'm almost there. Watching the boiling blood mark, Wu Dao accelerated. He had a fierce expression on his face. Soon he spotted Jian Wushuang who was sitting on the ground. Whoosh! Wu Dao appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and fixed him with a frosty stare. Boy, you're not escaping? You're bold. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and stared at Wu Dao. Then he stretched his right arm to show his blood mark. It's impossible to escape with this thing. Why waste my time? Jian Wushuang said with a smile. It's good that you know, Wu Dao replied with an icy stare. Fine. No more nonsense. I'll give you a lift. Go to hell. Go to hell? Jian Wushuang sneered as he rose. We'll see who dies. Let's have a try. Wu Dao responded as he stretched his hand to his saber. As the saber was unsheathed, the purple saber radiated a fierce aura. Wu Dao snorted and swung at his opponent with the saber. Shua! The strike cleaved the air. A mighty, brilliant saber river appeared in the sky. As it stretched towards Jian Wushuang, it gave the illusion that he was being split in half. This guy is indeed powerful, Jian Wushuang thought grimly. Jian Wushuang realized that Wu Dao was far superior to Hu and Shui Guzi. Therefore he had to take him seriously. He activated the full power of Sword Heart and launched an attack with his Emperor Sword. Shua. The continuous saber river shattered in the blink of an eye. Wu Dao was astonished. He glanced at Jian Wushuang. He resisted my attack. It looks like he hid most of his strength when he fought my junior brother Gong Chao. But the result will be the same. It'll just take more effort. Wu Dao shook as his aura soared. His body changed dramatically. His entire body began to swell up. His figure grew larger until he was 2 meters tall. His aura reached a new level. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Wu Dao wore a cold smile. He dashed out and appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Chapter 708 2 verses 2. Chapter 708 2 verses 2. The purple saber lashed out like lightning. Shua. It moved extremely fast. This speed. Jian Wushuang was surprised. Luckily he was proficient in sword principle, so he was able to react in time. Clang, 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 clang. Wu Dao brandished his saber with terrifying strength and made swift strikes in succession. The killing intent in his eyes soared as Jian Wushuang fully released the power of the World Dao. The World Dao contained everything in the world. Although it had no peculiarity, it was flawless. Jian Wushuang combined it with his swordsmanship and succeeded in resisting attacks from his opponent. Ghost Shadow. Wu Dao shouted. The purple saber shot forward with doubled speed and force. Violet Calamity Sword Skill. Jian Wushuang immediately displayed his trump card. Boom. The collision caused Jian Wushuang to tilt backwards and made his hands tingle. Wu Dao remained unaffected and continued to unleash saber light at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang appeared fearless and remained stoic. Seeing Jian Wushuang resisting in a composed manner, Wu Dao was surprised. Boy, you do possess some strength. He had underestimated Jian Wushuang. After witnessing his fight with Gong Chao, Wu Dao had even proclaimed that he would be able to kill him with a single strike. However, Wu Dao had barely been able to suppress him even with his full strength. I can't match you in offensive power, but your saber technique is far inferior to my sword technique. I can't defeat you, but it's impossible for you to kill me, Jian Wushuang growled. He had completely comprehended the 9 occults of the Slaughter Dao. Now he was capable of remaining undefeated with the help of his exquisite swordsmanship. You're right. It's hard to kill you on my own. What a pity. There's another expert who wants you to die. Wu Dao sneered as he looked at a spot next to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang paled as he found a figure standing next to him. Dao Mei. Jian Wushuang's face fell. Now he had to deal with 2 superior divine realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard. Dao Mei folded his arms and said coldly, Wu Dao, didn't you say that you could kill him with a single strike? I didn't know that he had hidden his strength. It's already reached our level. He is even stronger than Shui Guzi. Moreover, his swordsmanship is too exquisite, Wu Dao snorted. He was telling the truth. His overall strength was far superior to Jian Wushuang, but he was unable to defeat the boy because of his extraordinary swordsmanship. Extraordinary swordsmanship? What about comparing it to my saber technique? Dao Mei sneered. Dao Mei was proficient in saber technique. Let's work together to kill him. This zone is full of danger. If we dally too long, we might draw the attention of the demon gods or the other experts, Wu Dao said in a solemn tone. Okay. Dao Mei nodded. Terrifying aura erupted from the 2 experts as they charged forward. 2 superior divine realm experts? Jian Wushuang was not frightened. Shua. His body seemed to split for a second and 2 figures appeared. One resisted Wu Dao while the other one dealt with Dao Mei. 2 versus 2. Jian Wushuang continued to hold his own in the fight. Doppelganger's secret skill? He had displayed that skill in the Firmament Territory Feast. It's not a big deal. It won't change anything. The strength of Wu Dao and Dao Mei erupted. They were the strongest among the superior divine realm experts. Although Jian Wushuang had comprehended the 5th occult of World Dao and Slaughter Dao and his strength had greatly improved after entering the Eternal Zone, he was still weaker than the 2 experts. Fortunately, his excellent swordsmanship helped him to withstand their attacks for a while. Jian Wushuang, I'll see how long you'll withstand our attacks, Wu Dao said in an icy tone. Wu Dao launched continuous attacks, giving Jian Wushuang no respite, causing his world body to gradually retreat. The slaughter body was in a worse situation. Jian Wushuang had used the heart-killing sword, instead of his eternal weapon, the Emperor Sword, so his slaughter body was weaker than the world body. The slaughter body was only adept at offensive attack, but he was still inferior than Dao Mei. While the two original bodies fought the two experts, the black-robed figure who had been hiding in the nearby forest watched. It looks like there's no need for me to make a move. The two little guys from Cloud Sea Asgard can kill Jian Wushuang, the man thought. His face was completely concealed by his robe. Tut, Jian Wushuang is amazing. It's a pity that he follows the ancient sect and has become Xian Yi's personal disciple. Xian Yi has fostered 3 monsters, so no one will allow him to bring up the 4th one. What a pity. A peerless genius will die, the black-robed figure murmured. Abruptly, he looked at the battlefield with an odd expression. Here comes another expert from the Immortal Dynasty. Hee, things are getting interesting. Chapter 709, Trap. Chapter 709, Trap. On the battlefield, under the bold offensive from Wu Dao and Dao Mei, both of Jian Wushuang's original bodies plateaued and were defeated. Right at that moment, a figure dashed out of the jungle and appeared on the battlefield. Very busy here, I see. A burly man wrapped in black robes and a foul mood showed up. Long Tao. Wu Dao and Dao Mei eyes widened and jaws dropped in shock when they saw the man. Jian Wushuang looked at him as well. Long Tao, a genius disciple from the Immortal Dynasty, was a superior divine realm expert whose battle strength rivaled Wu Dao. What are you doing here? Wu Dao said, staring coldly at Long Tao. I just passed by and noticed the energy fluctuations, so I thought I'd have a look. To my surprise, you two battled a disciple in the skyscraping realm level from the ancient sect. Embarrassing to say the least, Long Tao said and laughed at them. Long Tao, you are an old disciple in the Immortal Dynasty, so you shouldn't be in the Eternal Zone. Why are you still here? Dao Mei looked at Long Tao and said, if I'm correct, your purpose is the same as ours, you also wish to kill Jian Wushuang. Long Tao furrowed his brow but didn't reply. Dao Mei and Wu Dao received their answer when they saw Long Tao's reaction. Beyond doubt, Long Tao's goal was also Jian Wushuang. Since we have the same goal, how about you fight with us to kill Jian Wushuang? What say you? Dao Mei said in a lighter tone. Fight with you. Long Tao glanced and grinned at Wu Dao and Dao Mei. I can fight alongside you too, but I desire all his treasures after he is vanquished. What? Wu Dao's face reddened. Sure. Dao Mei nodded and talked to Wu Dao in a low voice. Calm down. Our task is only to kill Jian Wushuang, not to seize his treasures. Since Long Tao desires them, then just let him take what he pleases. Moreover, when Jian Wushuang is dead, Xian Yi will definitely search for the murderer. It will prove safer for us to let him keep the treasures. Upon hearing that, although Wu Dao's facial muscles tightened up in unwillingness, he begrudgingly nodded. Good. Then let us work together to kill this ancient sect genius, Long Tao said, a cunning grin spreading across his face. Wu Dao and Dao Mei nodded solemnly. The next moment, these three all turned to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's world body and slaughter body stood side by side and stared coldly at Wu Dao, Dao Mei and Long Tao. It seems in the Eternal Zone, not only the Cloud Sea Asgard, but also the Immortal Dynasty wants me dead. I wonder what the attitude of Boundless Demon Sect is? Jian Wushuang thought, but didn't worry about the crisis at all. I only planned to trick the Cloud Sea Asgard, but since the Immortal Dynasty joins us, then that's not my fault. His eyes beamed with bloodlust. The next moment, the Emperor's sword glided toward the void. Boom. The dazzling sword light cut the clouds. It seemed it would split the sky down the middle. Wu Dao, Dao Mei and Long Tao all stood in bewilderment. They didn't comprehend Jian Wushuang's intentions. What's this kid doing? Wu Dao sneered. However, when the heavy footsteps reverberated through the void, his smile froze. As the footsteps grew nearer, hundreds of giant creatures popped up from the dense jungle. These giants all stood taller than 3 meters. Most of them gleamed bronze with only a few silver. The most obvious giant was the one enveloped by a golden light. It was gigantic and towered almost 10 meters. Demon gods. A large number of demon gods, full 10. 4 of them were silver-armored and 1 was the gold-armored demon god. These demon gods popped up from the jungle. The next moment they flew towards Wu Dao, Dao Mei and Long Tao. Wu Dao, Dao Mei and Long Tao, 3 superior divine realm experts, gawked in shock. Pure shock. They wandered the Eternal Zone for a long time and fought demon gods, including silver-armored demon gods, many times. However, they realized how terrifying these demon gods were. Usually, the battle strength of a silver-armored demon god was on par with theirs, or even stronger. Fortunately, the demon gods were all separated at the outside layer. That gave them a chance to break through one by one. It took them 7 days to defeat them and also gain some demon god essence blood. But now they never imagined this scenario. God, so many demon gods gathered together, including 4 silver-armored and 1 gold-armored demon god. The gold-armored demon god, the best among the demon gods. They wandered for so many days, yet it was their first time witnessing a gold-armored demon god. These demon gods are drawn by Jian Wushuang. Dao Mei glared at Jian Wushuang. Before Jian Wushuang split the sky with his sword, they were all confused. But now, as they faced these demon gods, they understood what he did. Trap. A trap. Dao Mei roared suddenly. It's a trap. That bastard Jian Wushuang works with these demon gods. Long Tao said furiously. How is this possible? Why do these demon gods aid him? Wu Dao said in disbelief. But even though it proved difficult for them to accept, such was a fact. The demon gods flew to the battlefield. They ignored Jian Wushuang's 2 original bodies and instead rushed towards him. Run. Run. They ignored Jian Wushuang and ran away without hesitation. Run? Now. It's far too late for that. Jian Wushuang stared at the 3 fleeing and clasped his hands. He set this trap for Wu Dao and Dao Mei, but to his surprise Long Tao fell into it as well. The trap was very simple. He used himself as the target to attract Wu Dao and Dao Mei. Then he negotiated for the demon gods to rip them to shreds. It was a simple plan, but Wu Dao, Dao Mei and even Long Tao wouldn't know the demon god clan allied themselves with him. That was why they fell into the trap. Chapter 7:10 Gold-Armored Demon God. Chapter 7:10 Gold-Armored Demon God. Eternal Zone was home to a massive community of demon gods. The demon gods here were only some from the outer layer. They received messages from Gu Qiong and Gu Jing and then rushed to fight. When Jian Wushuang launched the signal, they immediately rushed them. Jian Wushuang also recognized there were hundreds of demon gods coming. However, to his surprise, a gold-armored demon god showed up first. Gold-armored demon god. Jian Wushuang stared at the demonic creature. At 10 meters tall, the demon's huge legs exploded with speed inconsistent to its frame. Its speed far exceeded that of the superior divine realm experts. This demonic monstrosity was the first to bear down on Wu Dao, Dao Mei and Long Tao. People from outside the Eternal Zone, die. The gold-armored demon god howled and waved his golden giant hammer, which was like a small mountain hurtling towards Long Tao. The giant hammer flew through the void and boomed loudly. Long Tao's expression changed dramatically. However, as a superior divine realm expert and the core disciple of the immortal dynasty, Long Tao remained confident in his strength. He waved his giant axe and exploited his strongest secret skill and unique skill. He swung the axe, opposing the gold-armored demon god defiantly. The giant axe exploded with tremendous power. Truly his greatest offensive power. However, when the golden giant hammer collided with the giant axe, it was like an elephant trampling an ant. They were worlds apart. Long Tao's giant axe, touted as a powerful divine weapon, shattered in blow from the golden giant hammer. After that, the incredible power from the hammer walloped Long Tao. Bang! A muffled sound, Long Tao exploded into bloody fog. A terrifying hammer indeed. So powerful. Wu Dao and Dao Mei watched in horror. The gold-armored demon god's strength shocked even Jian Wushuang. Only one attack and the hammer outclassed the giant axe and eviscerated Long Tao. Its power almost matched the ordinary experts in the Eternal Realm. A black-robed figure in the dark witnessed the fight in amazement. The demon god clan is divided into 3 different levels, including copper-armored demon god, silver-armored demon god and gold-armored demon god. These 3 levels represent different bloodlines. The copper-armored is weaker than the silver-armored, but there is a huge gap between the gold-armored and the silver-armored. The strength of a gold-armored demon god and the divine realm expert level usually are close to the experts in the eternal realm. Even for me it will prove very difficult to defeat this gold-armored demon god. These three guys are so unlucky to meet a gold-armored demon god who possesses an eternal weapon. The black-robed figure was certainly well informed. Moreover, it would be better if the gold-armored demon god was only on the divine realm expert level. But if he was on the eternal realm level, then that would prove nightmarish for them. In the inner layer, the eternal realm experts from the firmament territory were only able to fight the silver-armored demon gods in the eternal realm level. If they met a gold-armored demon god, they ran away as quick as possible. The gold-armored demon gods represented the highest bloodline in the demon god clan, so their numbers were small. It was rare to meet them. Unfortunately, Wu Dao, Dao Mei and Long Tao met a gold-armored demon god in the outer layer of the eternal zone. It seems I need to do it by myself. The black-robed man slightly raised his head and showed an evil look. On the battlefield, the gold-armored demon god killed Long Tao with his hammer. The next moment, his huge body turned into a dazzling golden light and shot to Wu Dao and Dao Mei. Wu Dao and Dao Mei were both terrified and immediately ran away without hesitation. Dao Mei's figure transformed into a saber shape enveloped by a thunder light. He split the air and quickly ran away. His speed was at least twice as fast. However, his opponent was not only one gold-armored demon god, but also hundreds of silver-armored and copper-armored demon gods. These demon gods all rushed to kill him from different angles. Like right now, there was a silver-armored demon god in front of Dao Mei. Jian met Jian Wushuang before. You wish to escape. Jian said it with a cold voice. He held two heavy mazes and utilized them well. When Dao Mei appeared, he threw the two mazes. In an instant, the gas exploded and disoriented Dao Mei. Damn you. Dao Mei looked terrible. Jian stopped him, but he desperately wanted to escape. However, Jian possessed the tremendous power of his mazes and also showed his terrifying offensive abilities, and soon, Dao Mei was in a bad situation. Not to mention running away. He was hopelessly trapped by Jian. The next moment, there were a few copper-armored demon gods and one silver-armored demon god rushing to kill him. Many demon gods surrounded Dao Mei, making escape impossible. As for Wu Dao, he knew how to protect himself better than Dao Mei. Since the gold-armored demon god chased him and a few demon gods stood in front of him, Wu Dao shook his figure, then the blood surged. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Suddenly Wu Dao multiplied into 9 clones. These 9 Wu Dao's appearance and aura mirrored each other. What is this? Jian Wushuang stood in the distance and took no action. He squinted at Wu Dao's 9 bodies. One person can transform to 9 doppelgangers. But the aura doppelgangers are weak, it should cost him a lot to cultivate this transformation. This should be the life-saving secret skill that only works for a short time. Wu Dao's doppelgangers were completely different from the real doppelganger secret skill. Doppelganger's secret skill maintained the doppelganger forever. They could even go fight and retrieve the treasure. Like Xian Yi, he was in the Sword Palace but his doppelganger represented him to handle different things. But even that was just a doppelganger, yet no one dared look down upon it. But Wu Dao's doppelganger was used to deceive his opponent, so in essence, it was only a secret skill utilized when fleeing. Chapter 7:11, Dramatic Change. Chapter 7:11, Dramatic Change. Wu Dao multiplied into 9 different doppelgangers and fled with haste. His speed blinded the others. The demon gods chasing him, including the gold-armored demon god, were not able to recognize his original body, so they needed to kill the doppelgangers first. Almost instantly, the demon gods killed 6 of his clones. However, 3 of them escaped. The gold-armored demon god noticed one clone and quickly pursued. As for Dao Mei, he wasn't able to defend, so the 2 silver-armored demon gods and several copper-armored demon gods killed him. So far, 3 people who desired to kill Jian Wushuang, Dao Mei and Long Tao were already dead. Wu Dao escaped but was seriously injured. He was still pursued, not sure if he could escape safely from the encroaching demonic adversaries. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied with the results. It was a good scheme. Wushuang brother, Gu Qiong said. Both of Jian Wushuang's original bodies looked at Gu Qiong. However, when he turned his head, the black-robed figure in the dark materialized. He was like a ghost, both Jian Wushuang and demon gods hadn't noticed him before. Gu Qiong noticed the black-robed man first. Watch out! Gu Qiong yelled. What? Jian Wushuang shuddered in horror. The feeling of being on the edge of life and death was all too familiar for him. A flash of cold, blade light popped up behind him and stabbed his slaughter body. The slaughter body didn't have time to react, and before the cold, blade light pierced his chest. His body wasn't able to defend. Soon his heart shattered and the slaughter body died. After killing Jian Wushuang's slaughter body, the blade light slashed towards his world body. Obviously, the black-robed figure planned to kill both of Jian Wushuang's original bodies. The cold blade light still gleamed after killing the slaughter body and moved surprisingly fast. Jian Wushuang's hairs all stood up. Since he had been born and until now he encountered numerous dangers, but it was very rare for him to be this close to death. Facing this life and death crisis, Jian Wushuang calmed. He stared at the cold blade light. Fast. I need to be faster. He tried his best to pivot his body. Now, if he wanted to survive, he needed to be faster than the blade light. Chi. The blade light flew through Jian Wushuang's world body and caused a scarlet. His arm severed in two. Despite losing one arm, Jian Wushuang survived the deadly attack. Eternal Realm. He withdrew and steadily stared at the black-robed figure. From the aura which the black-robed man emitted, Jian Wushuang realized he was a real Eternal Realm expert. And he was also a human expert. An Eternal Realm expert should have wandered in the inner layer of the Eternal Zone, but not the outer layer. This person was not only in the outer layer, but also attacked him without considering his position. Moreover, it was a stealthy one at that. This sudden slash killed his slaughter body and cut one of his world body's arms. If Jian Wushuang was not calm enough, both of his original bodies would have perished. Then he really would be dead. Escaped successfully? The black-robed man raised his head and showed an old yet evil face. He stared at Jian Wushuang. Obviously, he didn't think Jian Wushuang could survive such an attack. Even though you can escape one attack, I don't think you will be safe after a second. The evil black-robed elder radiated confidence. He soon turned into an illusion and slashed towards Jian Wushuang. His speed was far quicker than the Divine Realm experts. Damn it. What an outside bastard. Stop. A roar sounded abruptly. Wushuang popped up in front of the black-robed elder. His muscles bulged and blue veins burst. He waved his giant axe and slashed towards the black-robed elder. Wushuang, brother. Jian Wushuang was shocked. You want to die? The black-robed elder flashed a trace of disdain and drew his saber. Boom. Wushuang's giant axe flew out and the power of the blade light hit his body. Even though Wushuang was a demon god with a resilient body, his opponent was a real Eternal Realm expert. Facing this expert, his body was thinner than a piece of paper. The blade light slashed through Wushuang and severed his body. He died almost instantly. No. Jian Wushuang's expression changed dramatically. Although he only knew Wushuang for a few days, Wushuang was honest and forthright. He felt comfortable and cordial and meshed with him very well. In those few days, Wushuang treated him like a brother. During the dangerous crisis, he knew his strength was not enough to defend the attack, but he still rushed forward and stopped it for Jian Wushuang. Although it was only one moment, it gave Jian Wushuang a chance to escape. Run, Wushuang, brother. Wushuang said, roaring in a low rumble before falling down. Jian Wushuang turned scarlet and his eyes filled with rage. He glanced at Wushuang and clenched his teeth. Dragon Blood Secret Skill. Jian Wushuang growled and his body also emitted a low voice. Soon his spiritual power burned quickly. Xianyi Palace Master gave him the Dragon Blood Secret Skill to protect himself. The secret skill burned his own spiritual power aggressively, but it increased his speed dramatically in a short time. The first level of the Dragon Blood Secret Skill burned the spiritual power a bit slower, but his speed multiplied by 10. The second level burned his spiritual power very quickly, but his speed increased hundreds of times in a short time. Now Jian Wushuang exploited the second level of the Dragon Blood Secret Skill. His spiritual power burned immensely as well as his speed. Swoosh. Jian Wushuang withdrew and his terrifying speed exploded. Chapter 712 Dragon Blood Secret Skill. Chapter 712 Dragon Blood Secret Skill. This speed. The black-robed elder witnessed Jian Wushuang's speed in shock, but soon snorted. A black gas surged as he sped up and chased Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang ran and the black-robed elder chased, and soon they both disappeared on the battlefield. As for the demon gods, including 4 silver-armored demon gods, they just realized and saw the black-robed elder chasing Jian Wushuang. They also wanted to help, but Jian Wushuang and the elder were far too fast. Even though they could catch up, they were only the copper-armored and the silver-armored demon gods, so they wouldn't be able to ward against the black-robed elder's attack. The only one who could help was the gold-armored demon god, but he chased Wu Dao, making it impossible. Therefore Jian Wushuang could only rely on himself. In the dense jungle, Jian Wushuang ran in a frenzy. His eyes were full of rage, but more of it was self-blame and guilt. It's my fault. I caused Gu Qiong's death. Jian Wushuang clasped his hands. In order to give him a chance to escape, the black-robed elder killed Gu Qiong. It could be said that Gu Qiong saved Jian Wushuang by sacrificing himself. He owed Gu Qiong his life. The old man. Jian Wushuang turned to look at the black-robed elder who still pursued him. He didn't know the elder, but before entering the Eternal Zone, he saw him in the Boundless Demon Sect camp. So, that meant he was from the Boundless Demon Sect. The black-robed elder and the other experts from different sects entered the inner layer of the Eternal Zone through the wormhole. However, this black-robed elder infiltrated through to the outer layer to kill him. I already knew 3 magnates would attack me, but I thought they would only be the disciples in the superior divine realm expert level. To my surprise, the Boundless Demon Sect assigned an Eternal Realm expert sneaked out from the inner layer to kill me. Jian Wushuang shook his head. He tried to conceal his strength to make the 3 magnate experts ignore him, so he gained an opportunity to defend. Like the Cloud Sea Asgard and the Immortal Dynasty, they both assigned their disciples to kill him. So he worked with the Demon God clan to defeat them. However, he never believed an Eternal Realm expert would return. He missed this point, so he caused Gu Qiong's death, and he was also in a dilemma. Boundless Demon Sect. Great. Jian Wushuang laughed with bloodlust in his voice. But even his hatred and rage he had to endure. The urgent task now was to save his life. Jian Wushuang's spiritual power burned bright. It was 10 times faster than when he fought. Although his speed increased dramatically, he couldn't maintain it for long. I cultivated the heavenly creation skill, so my spiritual power is more than the other same level's warriors. However, since the burning speed is so fast, I cannot withstand it for long. But the old man, Jian Wushuang, saw the black-robed elder behind him. The black-robed elder radiated black gas. Obviously, he also exploited the secret skill to increase his speed. Moreover, he completely exploited the skill to speed up. He was as fast as Jian Wushuang. He followed Jian Wushuang closely, so Jian Wushuang couldn't lose him. This is really bad. Jian Wushuang squinted. In the Eternal Zone, he couldn't use any message tokens. Also, his slaughter body was dead. Now, he tried his best to exploit the Dragon Blood secret skill, but still couldn't escape. What can I do? What else can I do? Deep down, Jian Wushuang remained calm, but he was desperately looking for an opening to escape. Suddenly, at the very end of his line of sight, he saw a territory covered in a pale, golden light. The inner layer of the Eternal Zone. Inner layer. Jian Wushuang's expression changed. Ling Yu, the Vice Palace Master, told him that the inner layer was the demon god's home, so it was very dangerous. The Eternal Realm experts needed to be very careful, and the Divine Realm couldn't survive there. But that was only for the other warriors. Jian Wushuang was different. After all, his aura was similar to the demon gods, so they treated him as their clansman. For other people, the inner layer proved very dangerous, but for him it might be a blessing. Go to the inner layer. Without hesitation, Jian Wushuang endured the pain of the spiritual power burning and rushed to the inner layer of the Eternal Zone. Behind him, the black-robed elder still pursued. This kid has such a good escape skill. I've completely exploited my secret skill, but I only can follow him, still can't catch him. The black-robed elder stared at Jian Wushuang with his cold eyes. But this secret skill cost his spiritual power. He is only a skyscraping realm, so he doesn't have endless spiritual power. Soon, when his spiritual power fades, then I would like to see what he can do. The black-robed elder acted casual, but he handled it painstakingly. After all, here was the Eternal Zone. Not to mention the demon gods, there were lots of disciples from different sects. If they saw him chasing Jian Wushuang and told the ancient sect, Xianyi would be furious and he would be in mortal danger. But he was in a black robe and also covered his face. Even though people saw him, they couldn't recognize him at a distance. At this moment. The black-robed elder saw a territory covered in a pale golden light in front of him. This kid, he wants to get into the inner layer? He really has guts. The black-robed elder's face clouded over. In the inner layer, it was the home for the demon god clan, so he didn't dare enter without a decent plan. Besides, there were numerous Eternal Realm experts, including the 8 Eternal Realm experts from the ancient sect. They were all at the edge of the inner layer. Based on his strength, he could do whatever he wanted in the outer layer. But the inner layer? No, that was more complicated. Chapter 7:13 Jet Black Arrow. Chapter 7:13, Jet Black Arrow. I have to kill him even into the inner layer no matter what. The black-robed elder radiated a huge killing intent. If Jian Wushuang kept hesitating, the elder would not stop until he managed to kill him. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 figures, one after another, appeared on the edge of the pale gold lightning and directly rushed into the inner layer. There, the endless jungle had disappeared and had been replaced by an immense wilderness, where the black-robed elder was chasing Jian Wushuang, who was absconding like crazy with no effort. Short after intruding the inner layer, Jian Wushuang found his spiritual power had run out. Even though he had taken many elixirs to regain some on the run, he burned much more than what he recovered. Even with his spiritual power was exhausted, the dragon blood secret skill continued to burn. However, now instead of consuming his spiritual power, what burnt was Jian Wushuang's own blood. With the blood in Jian Wushuang's body burning wildly, his heart felt a sudden pain. Damn it! Jian Wushuang's body seemed like it was about to melt under the torment of the pain, and he couldn't stop cursing wildly. Despite all of this, he was still escaping like a madman. He would never give up when his life was in danger, even in such an impasse. Haha, young man, are you okay? The black-robed elder behind Jian Wushuang sneered, finally aware of Jian Wushuang's odd complexion. Don't struggle anymore. Get ready for your death. It won't be so painful if you die, the black-robed elder said in a cold voice. But at this time, something strange happened. Swoosh! A streak of black light plunged into the air at an amazing speed, quickly reaching the black-robed elder. What's this? When the light appeared in front of him, the black-robed elder finally saw it clearly, and a strange look appeared on his face. That was a pure black arrow with an evil aura. Who shot the arrow? The black-robed elder was terrified. He could feel the horror emanating from the arrow, although he failed to find who was the archer. The jet-black arrow directly hit the chest of the black-robed elder old man at an amazingly fast speed. The elder had no time to dodge and could only wave his black dagger in a great rush. The dagger chopped at the arrowhead, trying to force it back or change its direction. However, the power of the sudden arrow skyrocketed when it collided with the dagger, and then it shocked the dagger away and continued straight at the black-robed elder. This is not good. The black-robed elder was startled and desperately moved. At the same time, a lot of spiritual powers gathered and formed many layers of shields in front of him. Bang, 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 bang. The jet-black arrow broke all of them effortlessly and eventually hit its target. However, the black-robed elder shook his body at the last moment and his left shoulder was pierced by the arrow instead of his heart. What a horrible shot. Who did it? Looking at the arrow inserted on his left shoulder, the black-robed elder feared and cast his eyes on the direction from where the jet-black arrow came in a great hurry. Immediately, he saw a middle-aged hairy man on a slightly raised hill, who was wrapped in simple animal skin and held a longbow with a basket of arrows on his back, staring at him with sharp eagle-like eyes. You outsider do have a quick reaction, the middle-aged man said, but the next moment his body shook suddenly, making the black-robed elder panic again. He transformed from a normal human to a 5 meters body in a flash. His hands and feet became extremely brawny with pieces of muscles upheaved. His whole body skin turned into silver. Silver-armored demon god. Silver-armored demon god of the eternal realm. At that sight, the black-robed elder was greatly frightened. Even the weakest copper-armored demon god was much stronger than any ordinary warrior, especially on raw attacking power and strength. He would be unsure about fighting against a copper-armored demon god. But now, in front of him was a silver-armored demon god of the eternal realm, which made him lose all hope. The once middle-aged-looking man once again drew the big bow. When the demon god was drawing the big bow, a horrible power began to converge. The power locked the black-robed elder in a flash, which made him turn pale and frightened. Run! He had no time to chase after Jian Wushuang, but immediately turned back and fled like crazy. The moment he tried to run, the middle-aged man's right hand quickly released the bow. A streak of sparkling black light ejected with a bounce and chased up the elder at a staggering speed, just like a huge comet dragging a long tail. The black-robed elder tried his best to escape. However, the black light finally caught up with him and shot directly towards his chest. The black-robed elder had nothing to do but turn around to withstand it with all his strength, even in virtue of one of his most precious treasures, a copper clock. Although the copper clock protected the black-robed elder's life by covering his body, it was shattered by the arrow in an instant, barely giving his owner a little bit of time to escape his unavoidable fate. The black-robed elder used this opportunity to escape from the sight of the middle-aged man. It was better to be alive without a treasure than dead. These outsiders do have a lot of tricks to save their lives. It's really hard to kill them. The silver-armored demon god shook his head and sighed. Then, his body shocked again and diminished into the original hairy middle-aged man. After that, he came straight to Jian Wushuang. At that moment, Jian Wushuang had burnt out of all spiritual powers and half of his blood. It was so miserable. He fell down to the ground with only a hint of consciousness, but unable to move. When the middle-aged man walked towards him, Jian Wushuang cast his eyes to the man. Chapter 7:14. The 10-day deadline was up. Chapter 7:14. The 10-day deadline was up. Good boy, are you okay? The middle-aged man looked at Jian Wushuang with goodwill. Jian Wushuang opened his mouth but found himself without words. Well, you're badly hurt. Don't say anything. Be careful not to die. After saying that, the middle-aged man squatted down and then took a dagger from his waist, gashing Jian Wushuang's arm. Jian Wushuang's expression changed slightly as he had no idea what was going on. But then his apparent savior stretched out his right arm. Who's he? The middle-aged man whispered. In a twinkling, a wound appeared on his arm and a hideous worm with countless tentacles climbed out of it. The scarlet worm and climbed into the wound on Jian Wushuang's arm. Watching this, Jian Wushuang felt a chill on his back, but he had no strength to resist whatsoever. However, when the creature entered into his body, Jian Wushuang immediately felt limp and numb. At the same time, he also realized that the worm contained an amazing amount of vital force that gave his whole body a bunch of fresh power. In just a moment, Jian Wushuang's injury got significantly better. Afterward, the scarlet worm climbed out of his wound and returned to the middle-aged man's hand once again. You're seriously wounded. Huzi only can prevent you from getting worse. If you want to fully recover, you'd better take it easy and go slowly after your return to the clan. The middle-aged man said. Thanks. Jian Wushuang said with great efforts but still unable to move. My name is Yang from the 8th tribe. The middle-aged man said. I am Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang responded. The demon god's expression changed, but Yang only said with no more questions although he felt Jian Wushuang's name was strange. It's not far from my tribe. Let me take you back there. You can go back to your tribe once you get better. Okay? Back to my tribe? Jian Wushuang's complexion whitened. He came from the outside world. The Eternal Zone was only open for 10 days. After that, it would close again. Before he entered into the Eternal Zone, Ling Yu, the Vice Palace Master, had said that they must hasten to the edge of the outer layer once the 10-day deadline was up if they wanted to leave. But now there were only 2 days left. Jian Wushuang could not guarantee he could reach the edge of the outer layer before the deadline if he followed Yang to the tribe where the demon god clan lived in. But I can't move at all on my current state. It's impossible to get to the edge of the outer layer. Jian Wushuang felt pained. Let's go. I can carry you on my back. Yang said, hoisting Jian Wushuang on his back and walking towards the 8th tribe. Meanwhile, in the Eternal Zone, many outsiders from the Firmament territory were still fighting madly in order to get more demon god's essence blood. But time was limited. 10 days passed in the blink of an eye. Outside the Eternal Zone, above the vast ancient forest floated 2 huge wormholes. The top 3 magnates from the Firmament territory and experts from top 9 sects strode out from one of them and gathered in crowds. Most of the experts from the Eternal Realm who had ventured in the inner layer were out of spirit energy after 10 days of combat. The number of experts was obviously reduced, many of them had lost their lives in the inner layer. The ancient sect had dispatched 8 experts in the Eternal Realm. After the combat, the 8 experts survived, but 2 palace masters were seriously wounded. Destruction, I was told that you got a demon god baptismal pool. How is it? Immortality looked at the palace master. Destruction. I failed. The palace master shook his head ashamed. What a pity. Immortality secretly praised. Those demon gods attach great importance to the demon god baptismal pool. Although there are many of them in the inner layer, each pool was guarded by a demon god. It's extremely tough to get one of those pools under their guard. Even if we are lucky enough to get it, whether we can turn into a demon god with it only depends on luck. You did get the demon god baptismal pool. But you were not lucky enough to become a demon god. What a pity. We just got some drops of demon god's essence blood, far away from getting a demon god baptismal pool. Ling Yu and other people could not help sighing. Among the experts of the Eternal Realm who adventured in the inner layer, only Zhong Ming from the Immortal Dynasty and Violet Fairy from the Nine Heaven sect are favored to get a demon god baptismal pool and successfully turn into a demon god. Immortality said. Immediately, several experts of the ancient sect all cast their eyes on the pair. As for those experts from other sects, they all looked at the 2 lucky dogs with envy. The demon god baptismal pool was the place where the demon god clansmen received baptism. They had to get into the baptismal pool to turn into a demon god when they grew up enough. But these human warriors also had the same chance to turn into a demon god given that they had a part of demon god bloodline by absorbing demon god's essence blood. Every time when the Eternal Zone opened, the experts from different sects in the firmament territory came into the inner layer to adventure. All of them were after a demon god baptismal pool to get at least a chance to turn into a demon god, just like the demon god clansmen. Even if the chance was slim, their strength would get a huge boost even if they happened to turn in just the weakest copper-armored demon god. Violet Fairy and Zhong Ming were successful in turning into copper-armored demon gods, which made experts from different sects admire them. They are so lucky. Immortality highly praised. You're right. The palace master Destruction nodded. Zhong Ming and Violet Fairy? Violet Fairy is weaker, just an ordinary expert of the Eternal Realm. I can beat her down in terms of strength. But now it will skyrocket several times as long as she turns into a copper-armored demon god. Ling Yu, the vice palace master, shook his head and smiled. Chapter 7:15 Life and Death. Chapter 7:15 Life and Death. Among us, only you are qualified to contend against Violet Fairy. But I'm afraid you can't defeat her. As for Zhong Ming, he is quite powerful by nature. Now that he has become a copper-armored demon god, even a warrior as powerful as you can't overcome him. Ling Yu, the vice palace master, said full of frustration. After hearing this, the palace master Destruction knew what he had said was true even if he was unwilling to admit it. Although Zhong Ming and Violet Fairy are fortunate, they are far behind from Yun Fan. Immortality said in a low voice. Yun Fan. The experts of the Eternal Realm from the ancient sect all thought of the current Great Elder of Cloud Sea Asgard, Yun Fan, and a flow of indignation emerged from their heart. Yun Fan was the sitting Great Elder of the Cloud Sea Asgard, who was considered as the strongest among the Eternal Realm and the Cloud Sea Asgard experts. What bothered them was the fact was that many years ago Yun Fan had been just as strong as them, and the Palace Master Destruction had been even much more powerful than Yun Fan at that time. Just because of the Eternal Zone expedition that happened then, however, Yun Fan had been so lucky to get a demon god baptismal pool and successfully turn into a silver-armored demon god with its help. That was much more formidable than a simple copper-armored demon god. Since then, Yun Fan made an earth-shaking progress and became the strongest expert of the Eternal Realm in the Cloud Sea Asgard, only ranked behind Shen Yi, Palace Master of the Ancient Sect, among the experts of the Eternal Realm in the whole firmament territory. Other experts of the Eternal Realm, even those who turned into copper-armored demon gods, were still miles away from Yun Fan. He had been so lucky that time. There were so many experts in the firmament territory, but till now Yun Fan was the only one who had managed to turn into a silver-armored demon god by virtue of a demon god baptismal pool. Luck is also part of someone's strength. We have no choice but to wait for the next opportunity. Fortunately, the Eternal Zone will open every 100 years, which is not too much for us. The Palace Master Destruction said helplessly. That's right. Other experts of the Eternal Realm nodded in agreement. Suddenly, a burst of light emerged from the other wormhole. These little guys are coming out of the Eternal Zone. What have they gotten? Let's see. Most of the present experts of the eternal realm were full of expectation. As rays of light raised, many disciples of the divine realm strode from the wormhole. Although they were tired out after the 10-day fight, they had made some gains just for surviving in the eternal zone. Those disciples strode out of the wormhole one by one. Among the 6 disciples of the ancient sect, Lu Chong, Feng, Donger and Luo Yong walked out from the eternal zone. "Boy, what have you got?" The palace master Destruction asked one of his best disciples with a smile. "I got 3 drops of demon god's essence blood," Feng answered. 3 drops? Very good. The palace master Destruction nodded with satisfaction. Those demon gods are quite strong. Even the weakest copper-armored demon god is a tough opponent among the advanced demon gods. Although they are clumsy and not good at fast movements, their bodies are quite strong to be killed. You still managed to get 3 drops of demon god's essence blood only in 10 days. Very good. It's true. It's not easy to kill those demon gods. I really spared great efforts to find one FO them alone, but failed to kill him in more than half an hour. A disciple from the Cloud Sea Asgard rushed to finish him off and got the demon god's essence blood. Luo Yong said bitterly, who only got 1 drop of demon god's essence blood. Donger, as powerful as Luo Yong, was lucky and got 2 drops. When it came to Lu Chong, he was a superior divine realm expert with great strength. So he got more demon god's essence blood, 6 drops in total. Jian, Wushuang and Situi haven't come out yet. I wonder what they have gained in the eternal zone. The palace master Destruction showed a slight smile. But this time, as light raised again, an awkward figure strode out from the wormhole. Most of the experts and disciples showed a strange look when they looked at the figure. He was Wu Dao from the Cloud Sea Asgard. Wu Dao was the strongest among the 3 superior divine realm experts who entered the eternal zone, even one of the best among the divine realm experts in the Cloud Sea Asgard. Logically, it should be very easy for him to make a breakthrough in the outer layer of the eternal zone. But now he was as pale as death and his aura was weak to the extreme. It was obvious that he was seriously wounded. This? The experts from the Cloud Sea Asgard all frowned and quickly walked towards Wu Dao. One leading elder among them asked in a low voice, "Wu Dao, what happened?" "Distinguished elders, I and junior brother Dao Mei were tricked by Jian Wushuang," Wu Dao said with a grudge, and then he narrated what he had gone through in the eternal zone. "What? Did you just say that Jian Wushuang plotted against you two along with the demon god clan?" The elders from the Cloud Sea Asgard were shocked. "Right." Wu Dao nodded solemnly. "Are you sure that Jian Wushuang joined hands with those demon gods, and they did not just happen to attack Jian Wushuang too?" The leading elder asked again. I'm not sure. Those demon gods did attack me and junior brother Dao Mei rather than Jian Wushuang," Wu Dao replied. "How about Jian Wushuang? Do you see him?" The elder made a detailed inquiry. "No." Wu Dao nodded. "Really?" The elder thought for a while and then he claimed, "Well, let it go. No matter whether Jian Wushuang is alive or dead, you must say you never met Jian Wushuang in the eternal zone if someone asks you." "Yes." Wu Dao nodded seriously. Many disciples of the divine realm came out from the wormhole one after another. After about an hour, all the experts who had survived in the eternal zone were almost out. Only less than 60 disciples finally came out from the eternal zone among the original 80 disciples from the 3 magnates and top 9 sections. There were 2 noticeable sections. One was the Cloud Sea Asgard, which dispatched 3 superior divine realm experts to the eternal zone, but Wu Dao was the only one who survived but suffered serious injuries. Another attractive sect was the ancient sect. Jian Wushuang, a peerless genius that scared all sects, who was tutored by Xian Yi, palace master of the ancient sect, had not shown up his face from the eternal zone yet. But the wormhole was going to close. Chapter 716 Xian Yi's Anger, Part 1. Chapter 716, Xian Yi's Anger, Part 1. Finally, the 2 wormholes that connected to the eternal zone finished closing and completely disappeared from sight. The whole area was filled with silence. Jian Wushuang didn't come out? The 8 eternal real experts from the ancient sect seemed confounded for a moment. If someone didn't leave the eternal zone in time, death was the only remaining possibility. Even if he was not dead yet, the eternal zone would not be open for another 100 years. How could a person survive there for 100 years? Even experts of eternal realm like them would not be able to survive there for that long. Shit. The 8 ancient sect experts of Eternal Realm, including Feng, Lu Chong and the other disciples, looked rather grim. Even though, among the 6 ancient sect disciples who entered the Eternal Zone, Situ-yi also didn't make it out in time, Jian Wushuang was much more important than Situ-yi. Jian Wushuang was an incredibly peerless genius and the personal disciple of Xian-yi. As long as he didn't die early, he was almost guaranteed to reach the Eternal Realm, and he even had a very good chance of becoming a Dao Master. But Jian Wushuang had not exited from the Eternal Zone. The surrounding experts from each sect remained silent at this time, but the looks they gave each other said everything. Good. Jian Wushuang died in the Eternal Zone. The ancient sect will definitely suffer a loss with his absence. The ancient sect? The ancient sect may have suffered a loss, but the issue is that Jian Wushuang is a personal disciple of Xian-yi. Now with his youngest disciple dead, he might go crazy. I think there is something odd about his death though. Shush. We all understand, but we don't dare to say it out loud. Let's see what happens. Xian-yi is not someone we can offend. Although he seems to be a good-tempered man who treats others kindly, he's unstoppable when he becomes angry. The trip to the Eternal Zone had come to an end. However, the experts of the top sects were in no hurry to leave because they were curious to see what would happen next. They all knew that Xian-yi would never let the death of Jian Wushuang with just that. At this moment, many different ideas were racing through the minds of the 3 magnates. In the area where the Boundless Demon sect was. And Chao, did you kill Jian Wushuang? The Eternal Realm experts from the Boundless Demon sect had gathered together and were looking at a pale-faced black-robed elder. This black-robed person was the one who had chased Jian Wushuang into the inner layer of the Eternal Zone. He was An Chao, an elder of the Boundless Demon sect. The arrow from Guiyang had left a wound on him. I did injure him and even managed to kill his doppelganger, but I wasn't able to confirm his death. And Chao frowned and said, the kid had a remarkable escape skill. At the cost of burning his spiritual power, he was able to instantly increase his speed by 100 times within a short period. Even while using my full power, I was only able to keep up with him. He eventually fled to the inner layer. I did follow after him, but I came across a silver-armored demon god in the Eternal Realm before I managed to kill him. The silver-armored demon god terrifyingly powerful, so I was forced to use my trump card just to survive. So, what you're saying is that you didn't witness Jian Wushuang's death, right? Another elder of the Boundless Demon sect asked. Yes. And Chao nodded and continued, however, he's definitely dead. He burned up all of his spiritual power and even started burning his blood. Definitely dead? The elders of Boundless Demon sect laughed. An elder said, the Eternal Zone is already very dangerous and he even entered the inner layer, which is a death trap. He has to be dead. Yes. Those demon gods utterly hate us outsiders. There's no doubt that they would kill him on sight, the elder beside him echoed. Hopefully, and Chao nodded slightly, but there was an awful premonition hidden deep in his heart. After all, he had seen Jian Wushuang working together with those demon gods to kill Wu Dao and the others. But, other than Jian Wushuang, these demon gods hated all outsiders. In the area where the ancient sect was, the 8 Eternal Realm experts had gathered together. Palace Master Destruction began to inform the sect that Jian Wushuang had not made it out of the Eternal Zone and he had just finished telling Xian-yi. After Xian-yi heard the news, he was silent for a moment before quickly replying, I see. My doppelganger will arrive soon. Before it gets there, make sure you don't let any of the 3 magnates leave. I understand. Palace Master Destruction nodded. After he finished delivering the news, Palace Master Destruction sighed in relief, but he could sense Xian-yi's anger in those last few words he said. It seems like someone is going to suffer a lot. Palace Master Destruction sighed while looking toward the experts of the 3 magnates with pity in his eyes, but he immediately spoke, everyone from Cloud Sea Asgard, the Immortal Dynasty and the Boundless Demon sect. After hearing his words, the experts of the 3 magnates had unnaturally fearful expressions on their faces. Anyone who even knew a little about his past would be fearful of Palace Master Xian-yi. Xian-yi, he is the strongest Eternal Realm expert in the Firmament territory. The elder from Cloud Sea Asgard, Lady Red, clasped both of her hands as various stories about Xian-yi began to run through her mind. Literally, he is a monster. It's very rare for him to personally make a move, but once he does, that person will not meet a good end no matter who they are. No one knows how powerful he is because he has never used his full power. He's always been an unfathomable and unpredictable individual. Many years ago, our palace master came to blows with Xian Yi. But after that our palace master ordered us not to offend Xian Yi. As far as I know, our palace master merely fought with Xian Yi's doppelganger that time. In addition, it is well known that Yuan Yi is not the type to get angry easily. However, if provoked, he can create a massacre. More importantly, he usually defends his disciples. Now, with his youngest disciple dead, even if he has no evidence that it was Cloud Sea Asgard that killed Jian Wushuang, he would not just let it go. Upon hearing his words, many experts of in Cloud Sea Asgard had an even grimmer expression on their faces. In the Immortal Dynasty and the Boundless Demon Sect, the Eternal Realm experts also looked solemn. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the air above them. When she saw the figure suddenly appear, Lady Red Elder took a deep breath and she looked around. Then a low and deep voice spread about. "Everyone, prepare yourselves and make sure to stay behind me while we face Xian Yi's wrath." Chapter 717 Xian Yi's Anger, Part 2. Chapter 717, Xian Yi's Anger, Part 2. In the air above them, a gigantic purple-haired man slowly emerged and dead silence immediately reigned over the whole area. The strongest Eternal Realm expert in the Firmament Territory, Ancient Sect Palace Master Xian Yi from Sword Palace, had arrived. When the experts of the three magnates and the other 8 top sects saw Xian Yi, they realized that his face didn't have the usual mild expression. Instead, he looked slightly ferocious. They all began to feel frightened at this moment. The name of people and the shadow of trees. Xian Yi was famous in the Firmament Territory and he was a nightmare for most of the Eternal Realm experts in the Firmament Territory. Even though it was only his doppelganger, it still possessed unprecedented power. "Jian Wushuang, he was my disciple," Xian Yi said in a voice that did not display any emotions. Although he was only in the skyscraping realm, his strength was extraordinary. It would not be a problem at all for him to pass through the Eternal Zone. But he died in the end. Cloud Sea Asgard, Immortal Dynasty and Boundless Demon Sect. You, the three magnates, should give me an explanation, shouldn't you? Explanation? What explanation? Lady Red, the elder who was leading the Cloud Sea Asgard group, snorted and continued, "The Eternal Zone is full of dangers. Even Eternal Realm experts can face death there, let alone those disciples in the skyscraping realm and the divine realm. Even one of the elders from our Cloud Sea Asgard fell last time. We, Cloud Sea Asgard, had more disciples die this time. Among the 3 who were in the superior divine realm, there was only one who came back alive. We also lost so much, so who should we go to for an explanation? Life and death, poor or rich, it's all destined. Your disciple has died in the Eternal Zone. The person you should blame is the one who was not strong enough. Who else is there to blame?" The red-robed elder spoke in an unhurried manner and the experts of Cloud Sea Asgard, as well as the other 2 magnates, nodded along with him. "Oh." Xian Yi raised his eyebrows but his voice grew cold. "If my disciple really was killed by those demon gods, then I have nothing to say. However..." Before he finished, Xian Yi's figure suddenly faded away, but when his figure appeared again, he had already grabbed someone's hand. And that person was Wu Dao. "Xian Yi, what are you going to do?" All of the experts of Cloud Sea Asgard were extremely surprised. Xian Yi entirely ignored them and a purple light flashed in his eyes. Then he looked towards Wu Dao. Wu Dao looked back at Xian Yi, but his eyes immediately grew empty. "Tell me, did you see my disciple in the Eternal Zone?" Xian Yi asked. "Yes," Wu Dao nodded dully. This scene greatly shocked everyone in the surroundings. "What?" The Eternal Realm experts in Cloud Sea Asgard looked surprised and the expressions on their faces suddenly changed. They were all aware of what had happened. Wu Dao was completely under Xian Yi's control. He had taken over his mind directly, so Wu Dao was not even conscious of what was happening. All he could do was answer Xian Yi's questions slowly and honestly. How was he doing it? What an incredibly odd technique. "Have the elders of Cloud Sea Asgard ordered you to kill my disciple?" Xian Yi continued to ask. "Yes," Wu Dao continued to answer in a dull manner. "Shit. Damn it. What? The Eternal Realm experts in Cloud Sea Asgard all began to panic. They knew beforehand that Xian Yi would be furious when they killed Jian Wushuang. However, no matter how mad he was, Xian Yi wouldn't completely lose it as long as he wasn't able to find evidence proving that they did it. They never expected Xian Yi to have a method that directly controlled someone's mind. They had underestimated Xian Yi. What happened? Xian Yi continued to ask. I found him along with my junior brother, Dao Mei. We should have been able to kill him, but a group of demon gods appeared out of nowhere, so we could only escape. Dao Mei was killed by those demon gods and I narrowly escaped because of secret skill, Wu Daomu said dully. I see, Xian nodded and immediately let go of Wu Dao. Wu Dao quickly came back to his senses, then looked around blankly and said, What happened? What happened to me? He had absolutely no idea what had happened. At this moment, Xian Yi looked toward the experts of Cloud Sea Asgard with his ice-cold eyes. Cloud Sea Asgard, do you have anything you want to say now? Xian Yi's voice grew cold. Lady Red was somewhat terrified and shouted promptly, Mr. Xian Yi, Wu Dao did harm your disciple, but he wasn't the one that killed him. Your disciple's death had nothing to do with our Cloud Sea Asgard. You're right. I had intended to kill all 14 of your Eternal Realm experts, but I've decided to give you a discount, so I'll only kill half of them. After saying that, he immediately made his move. In an instant, a strikingly cold sword light appeared, filling up the entire area. This sword light was extremely dazzling, but it also looked slow and stodgy as if it possessed no power at all. It didn't seem like anything special, but this slow attack shocked all the Eternal Realm experts and their disciples. Everyone had fallen into a trance. They had become immersed in this brilliant sword light and seemed to have forgotten everything. The 14 Eternal Realm experts of Cloud Sea Asgard also went numb at that moment. The sword light seemed to attack them, but none of the 14 experts tried to fight back. Like a fool, they all went numb, allowing the sword light that appeared before them to freely dance around them. Swish! The sound of a sword being sheathed was heard as the sword light finally dissipated. The experts and disciples in the surroundings slowly came back to their senses. Once they regained their senses, they looked forward and became completely stunned. Among the people of Cloud Sea Asgard, the 14 Eternal Realm experts still stood there in a scattered manner, but 7 of them were missing their heads. 7 heads instantly flew up into the air at the same time. With one sword, 7 of 14 Eternal Realms experts had been instantly killed. Xian Yi gently waved his sleeve as the sweeping sword essence faded away. His face still looked indifferent as if what happened just now had nothing to do with him. The whole area remained completely silent. A deathly silence. And this silence hung over the area for a long time. Chapter 7:18 Xian Yi's Anger, Part 3. Chapter 7:18 Xian Yi's Anger, Part 3. The whole area was completely silent, except for the sounds of the 7 ice-cold corpses slowly hitting the ground. The 7 people who survived, swallowed and stood there with their eyes wide open due to their extreme fear. Watching this, the experts of the other sects were filled with shock. They all knew that the ancient sect palace master, Xian Yi, was terrifying and domineering, but nobody knew how powerful he really was. In the beginning, they believed that Xian Yi might be strong enough to fight the 14 Eternal Realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard, but they thought it would be a tough fight. They didn't expect him to kill them with only one attack. With only one attack, he had killed 7 experts from Cloud Sea Asgard. That incredible sword move frightened everyone. Apparently, Xian Yi was still holding back his strength, or else all 14 of them would be dead. Such terrifying strength. Such overwhelming strength. After seeing his strength, some of them started to wonder if Xian Yi had broken through and become a supreme Dao Master. It seemed to them that only a legendary Dao Master could perform such an incredible sword move. Go back and tell your palace master nobody kills my disciples no matter how badly they want to. You should be grateful that my disciple was not actually killed by your Cloud Sea Asgard. Otherwise, Xian Yi's voice reverberated throughout the area. Although Xian Yi didn't finish, everyone understood what he meant. The 7 people survived, including Lady Red, were suppressing their fear deep down inside of them, not daring to say a thing. They promptly told it in secret to Yun Fan, the Great Elder, and the Palace Master behind them. Cloud Sea Asgard has already given me an explanation. Now, it's the Immortal Dynasties and Boundless Demon Sect's turn. Xian Yi looked towards the experts of the Immortal Dynasty and Boundless Demon Sect, those 2 big groups. Fear swept over these experts when they saw him staring at them. The uncaged and untamed middle-aged man who led Immortal Dynasty promptly said, Mr. Xian Yi, the Immortal Dynasty didn't hurt your disciple. Neither did our boundless demon sect, said the people of the boundless demon sect. At this time, they absolutely would not dare to admit that they had intended to hurt Jian Wushuang. As for An Chao of the boundless demon sect who had actually chased after Jian Wushuang, he was definitely the most frightened one. He was terrified that he would be got caught by Shen Yi, the same way Wu Dao was, then controlled and forced to tell the truth. If that happened, he would definitely meet a very miserable end. If you two magnates give me 10 million divine gems each, I will not get to the bottom of this. As for each of the other top sects, you should give me 1 million divine gems. Anyone have a problem with that? Shen Yi's voice grew cold. Okay, no problem. No problem. The Immortal Dynasty, Boundless Demon Sect and those top sects in the area were totally overawed by Shen Yi's strength, so no one dared to go against him. They knew that Shen Yi was taking advantage of the situation. However, they did have the ulterior motives. After all, they did make plans against Jian Wushuang. The Immortal Dynasty and Boundless Demon Sect even fought with him, so they definitely did not want to face a situation similar to the experts of Cloud Sea Asgard and have half of their experts killed. Within a short amount of time, these sects brought out enough divine gem to pacify Shen Yi. Okay, let's forget it. If anyone has any complaints, feel free to tell them to come find me. After he said that, he gave a profound look toward the 7 remaining people in Cloud Sea Asgard and left with a wave of his sleeves. While watching Shen Yi leave, the experts finally sighed in relief. Even the 8 Eternal Realm experts from the ancient sect felt a sense of relief. Palace Master Destruction said immediately, I finally know why Shen Yi is not interested in the opportunities in the Eternal Zone. He is so powerful that he is not inferior to Dao Master. So, why would he care these small benefits? Exactly, Mo Tao nodded and continued. I knew Shen Yi was powerful, but I didn't know he had reached such a high level. No wonder the other sects are so afraid of him. I'm sure Cloud Sea Asgard is full of regret now that they've lost 7 Eternal Realm experts. Cloud Sea Asgard did suffer a big loss. I suppose they will try to cause trouble for Shen Yi in the future. Cause trouble for Shen Yi? I don't think any of them have the guts to do that except for their palace master himself. Shen Yi is quite crafty though. He personally killed people in Cloud Sea Asgard, but he only extorted the other 2 magnates for 10 million divine gems each. So, he didn't offend them as badly as he did Cloud Sea Asgard. And Cloud Sea Asgard won't be able to do anything to him on their own. The surrounding experts from each sect continued to talk about what just happened while constantly glancing towards the remaining 7 Eternal Realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard. In the area where Cloud Sea Asgard had gathered, Lady Red's face had turned dark red because of all the bizarre looks she felt coming from her surroundings. At this moment, a message token in her possession reacted. Of course, the owner of this token was their Palace Master. Palace Master has sent a message. Lady Red immediately looked at the token as her eyes sparkled with excitement. But the message their Palace Master sent was very simple, only 4 words. Don't upset Shen Yi. Lady Red and the other people in Cloud Sea Asgard were shocked by this message. Shen Yi killed 7 of our people. Why did the Palace Master warn us not to upset him instead? Why is he so afraid of Shen Yi? Lady Red was a bit confounded. After a while she sighed and said, let's go. The remaining people from Cloud Sea Asgard slowly left, along with their disciples. Naturally, the experts of the other sects left as well. The trip to the Eternal Zone had come to an end. However, the incident with Shen Yi killing 7 Eternal Realm experts from Cloud Sea Asgard quickly spread throughout all of the Firmament territory and continued to be a topic of discussion for quite a long time. However, it wasn't just because of Shen Yi's anger that Jian Wushuang's death had become a heated topic among the experts in the Firmament territory. Quite a few people were sorry for Jian Wushuang because he was such a peerless genius. However, as one of the main characters of this incident, Shen Yi was sitting on the 2nd floor of the Sword Tower, leisurely brewing his tea. On a table close to the wall, there was a floating shadow which appeared to be a sword spark. It was the sword spark that had been taken from Jian Wushuang's sword heart with a special method when Shen Yi took him as his personal disciple. This sword spark had not vanished, which meant that Jian Wushuang was still alive. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.